and you're ready for our next exciting session. This is a session that will delve into all things mandatory disclosure. And this is one of my favourite terms. Over the years of looking at sustainability, I've come to love this term. Generally, if somebody tells me about something, I'm always, but is it mandatory? Is the first question I'll actually ask. So I welcome Alistair Sherwin, the General Manager for Energy Efficiency Branch at the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources, to talk us through this. And remember, if you have any questions for Alistair, please put them in the chat function and we will answer them at the end of Alistair's talk. So over to you, Alistair.
Thank you, Craig, and good morning, everyone. Thanks to Yvonne for her welcome, and I acknowledge traditional custodians of the various lands on which we're meeting today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. The last few months have been some of the most challenging for Australia. We're all operating in an environment of great uncertainty as our usual business practices, markets and supply chains change in unpredictable ways. The property and construction sectors are key industries for Australia. Maintaining jobs and stability in these sectors and in the broader economy is a major focus for the department. This is being done while we are also continuing to improve energy efficiency and reduce emissions. Energy efficiency plays a key role in improving Australia's wealth, health and well-being. Businesses that are more energy efficient are more productive. More efficient buildings enjoy increased market value and are generally more comfortable to work in. To maximise these benefits, ratings and disclosure play key roles. The combination of ratings and disclosure showing the actual energy use in buildings leads to improvements in energy consumption and emissions performance. The evidence is clear. Australian property companies' leadership of the Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmark, or GRESB, reflects this. The take-up of NABERS in New Zealand and in the UK reflects this, and your experiences reflect this. So enjoy our first ever digital NABERS and CBD conference. At the last conference in 2018, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of NABERS. As many of you will know, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the passage of the Building Energy Efficiency Disclosure Act. We have much to celebrate and be proud of, and there is more that can be achieved and is being achieved in the property sector. The department recognises that the COVID-19 pandemic is having a very significant impact on the entire building sector. As a result, consideration of the outcomes of the most recent review of the CBD program are on hold until the situation has significantly improved. In buildings, what gets measured gets managed. When we understand how buildings operate, we can take effective action to make them more energy efficient and help meet multiple environmental goals. The National Australian Built Environment Rating System, NABERS, has become central to measuring how commercial buildings are performing when it comes to energy, water, waste and indoor environment quality. As you know, NABERS is recognised globally for the ability to measure actual energy performance through bills. NABERS is key to the successful delivery of the trajectory for low energy buildings, a national plan agreed by all Australian governments to deliver zero energy homes and commercial buildings. The plan describes a pathway for us to improve the efficiency of buildings that are standing today and those being designed and built for tomorrow. Buildings account for about 50% of electricity use in Australia and almost a quarter of our emissions. That's why NABERS and CBD are important. They are integral to a delivery of Australia's Paris Agreement commitments and our trajectory towards net zero emissions in buildings. The government's technology investment roadmap will help identify the technologies that will keep Australia at the leading edge of building performance. Building performance is an important part of the innovation picture, and most, if not all of you, play some role in driving the future in the sector. The roadmap will assist the building of partnerships with sectors such as yours to effectively deploy technology towards reducing emissions and ensuring reliable and affordable energy. The Australian Government has committed to expand NABERS energy ratings into more building types under the Climate Solutions Package. The Government has allocated almost $4.5 million to kickstart the expansion. That funding is supporting projects to improve NABERS data collection, update NABERS methodology and ensure NABERS can be used as a verification process for more sectors through the National Construction Code among other things. Expansion of NABERS into more building types is important. It will enable more areas of the economy to identify how they use their energy, how this compares with their peers, and ultimately how to reduce their costs and emissions. NABERS Director Carlos Flores will have more to say about these projects shortly. Carlos also has crunched the numbers on NABERS and CBD, and I know how much you love his data stories, so stay tuned. Now let's take a look at some data through CBD visuals. One example of how successful the CBD program has been can be seen in this slide, which shows how the impact of the program has played out in the market by showing buildings that received their first NABERS energy rating before CBD was announced, compared to buildings which joined after. In the second graph, we can see that buildings which joined NABERS after CBD was introduced have reduced their energy use very fast. They improved by 1 star after just 3 years and an additional half a star after 6 years. We can also see that buildings rated after CBD was introduced improved faster than the original market leaders. This is likely due to several factors. Early adopters made significant headway in improving their energy use before CBD was introduced and helped the whole sector to benefit and learn from their experiences. As noted in the last 2 CBD reviews, disclosing how many energy stars a building has to prospective tenants and owners is especially effective for buildings with very low initial ratings, and so help drive much faster energy improvements in those buildings. CBD requires office buildings over 1,000 square metres to disclose their energy rating at the time of sale or lease. The program is reviewed about every 3 years to make sure it remains fit for purpose and to look at possible changes and improvements. Importantly, what the most recent review of the program found in the published draft report is that many of the big energy improvements under the program are not due to major one-off upgrades, but steady improvements. This has happened primarily by encouraging building owners and managers to make operational changes and end-of-life capital upgrades. On this slide, we highlight an interesting case study courtesy of Fifth Estate. Here you can see an image of 55 Russell Street in South Brisbane. The owners bought the 4,080 square metre building for $23.5 million, and it was performing at around 4 stars in early 2019. It's also a CBD building. At time of purchase, it had a 33% vacancy rate. Fund manager Forza Capital has since turned it into a 6-star NABERS building with 100% occupancy. What is important about this case is how a relatively low-cost upgrade could deliver such a high impact. The owner spent $100,000 on improving the metering, tuning the building's energy management systems, and installing photovoltaics. This has helped secure a government tenancy and ensured improvements in capital and operational cash flows through the repositioning of the asset in the market. The CBD program, alongside NABERS, is helping to generate a new level of knowledge and awareness of the benefits of well-managed energy systems to drive innovation and best practice, and doing that building by building. The CBD program has also seen significant beneficial technological changes since its inception, as you can see from this next slide. Under the CBD program, implemented under the BEAD Act, buildings must undergo a tenancy lighting assessment, or TLA, to assess the quality of the lighting installation and whether there are lighting sensors and so on. We have looked into the time series of data we hold on TLAs in CBD buildings. This slide shows the average nominal lighting power density has improved significantly since 2012 from medium to good. In terms of practical outcomes for an office space of 10,000 square metres operating 40 hours a week, current lighting power density saves about $18,000 a year in energy bills compared with a lighting system of 2012. That's a 27% improvement over 8 years. As many of you know, TLA validity was extended to 5 years in 2016. That means a big chunk of lighting assessments will expire in 2021, and upgrade lighting systems will be assessed. We're expecting to see another big jump in efficiency. The Centre for International Economics has been conducting an independent review of the CBD program. This has been done about every 3 years, as we've mentioned, to ensure the program is operating well. Their draft report, which is publicly available, and the reviewers found that the program is reducing energy use and emissions effectively. The positive impacts of the CBD program are many. For example, the average energy use of the offices in the base building that are covered by the program has declined over time by 150 megajoules per square metre between 2010 and 2019. That's down from 550 to 400. And that's a cumulative 3 petajoules of energy saved, which is a significant amount. And International Energy Agency Executive Director Fatty Birol famously said, the best power station is the one we don't have to build. The CBD program is directly contributing to that so-called first fuel. CBD has also been found to reduce emissions by 858 kilotonnes to date, which is equivalent to the greenhouse gas emissions of more than 40,000 households for 1 year. This is even more significant if you think about how the cumulative benefits could look in 2030. According to that CIE draft report, under a business as usual scenario, the program could reduce energy consumption by a cumulative 11.6 petajoules and generate savings of 2.2 megatonnes of emissions by 2030. In the longer term, investing in energy efficient technology and accelerating energy efficiency programs will be vital for ensuring our economy continues to grow. Just to give you one example, the global market for smart energy technology is $470 billion annually and growing. And if Australia were to capture 1% of this, that would equate to $4.7 billion in economic activity every year and support our advanced manufacturing capabilities. The Australian Government's new technology investment roadmap will establish a framework for strategic and system-wide technology investments over the short to 2022, medium to 2030 and long term. Every year, the government will also be releasing low emissions technology statements as part of the roadmap to ensure Australia stays at the cutting edge of technology investment. We are stronger for the collaborative support in the sector and the drive, passion and enthusiasm of people working in it, many of whom are participating remotely today. Energy efficiency makes good business sense and delivers a positive return on investment. Together, we can ensure the hard work and achievements for NABERS and the CBD program can continue to improve the working and living conditions of Australia while reducing energy bills and emissions. And it is by working together that we have achieved what we have so far, and in the future, it is what will help this sector remain strong in uncertain times. Thanks very much, and after Carlos's presentation, we'll take questions.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Cheers. Thank you, Alistair. Thanks so much for that. Thanks for telling us about this. An amazing approach, best practice approach, as you said. It's been copied around the world. Places like UK and New Zealand are copying this, and the CBD and NABERS approach and that mandatory approach has had such an amazing effect. I hope it gets copied more in other policy areas in Australia as well going forward. I can say that, you can't.